Hello, this is Amy Zewe with the Jerusalem Connection Report for Friday, September 2nd. Update on anti-BDS activities. Governor Christie in New Jersey just last week signed into law his state's legislature's bill to ban the use of New Jersey pension fund and other taxpayer money with any company that is engaged in BDS activities. Governor Christie coupled this signing with the remarks that not only does the state of New Jersey stand in solidarity and support of the state of Israel, that this camaraderie goes beyond just lip service and that it must be demonstrated in economic policies as well. He also indicated that, or recognized, that BDS activities are indeed anti-Semitic and bigoted, and therefore the state of New Jersey will not engage with companies that engage in those BDS notions. BDS stands for Boycott, Divest, and Sanction, and it is a political and economic movement seeking to destroy economically the state of Israel by starving it of funding in a variety of ways. So bravo, New Jersey, for those activities in late August 2016. In Europe, however, economic policies are a little bit different. There is no organized or legal boycotting of the nation of Israel, but the fact that the EU does label all products that come in from Judea and Samaria as such is to encourage consumers to not buy them. However, as I've reported before, this actually hurts Palestinians who enjoy great careers at Israeli-owned factories in these areas that produce some wonderful goods and services that the whole world enjoy. Not only do Palestinians in these areas work with higher wages, higher career mobility, in safer working condition, and under Israeli employment law, these kinds of conditions are not emulated in Palestinian-owned factories in the neighboring areas. Well, ironically, one of the PLO officials named Erekat is now furious with Europe and openly decrying that they are not doing enough to boycott Israel and starve it from existence. This is the same organization that is duping Western cultures into thinking that it wants to have some sort of peace with Israel. But he is openly, Erekat, stating that no two-state solution is possible and he will not tolerate it. So I'm not quite sure who the Israelis are supposed to have peace with if that's the case. On the continued front of political spectrums in America, the Black Lives Matter group is now coming under some scorn from a variety of people who support its original cause. Alan Dershowitz, the famed Harvard law professor, author, and speaker on a variety of fronts, supporter of Israel but never one to hold back criticism of Israel, has called out the Black Lives Matter to officially rescind its stance on the state of Israel and its inclusion of statements and rhetoric about Israel being an apartheid state and an oppressive state, that they should remove this from their itinerary or their agenda. It is certainly off focus at the very least, and it is certainly based on innuendo, lies, and misinformation at best. When any organization who claims to be on the side of human rights then goes ahead and acts in a bigoted way against any particular ethnicity, it is deeming itself invalid. Just because it has a little bit of truth, if it's got any other bit of untruth, it negates the validity of the entire organization. Now, Black Lives Matter has its own set of controversies and debatable topics within United States issues and policies, and that's fine. But what they seem to forget is their own history. Jewish people in American history have been the biggest proponents and help to the civil rights movements in the United States. You just have to Google Jewish help in civil rights in Google, the Google search bar, and you will see a myriad of articles that document famous and not so famous Jewish Americans who were on the front lines of the civil rights movement, including two who were murdered in Mississippi, and the outrage for that murder when they were helping with a voter registration project for black people in Mississippi. They were murdered. And the result of that was the voter legislation reform that was passed in 1965. Moreover, one of the founders of Sears Roebuck, a Jewish gentleman, funded many schools in the South for black children to go to during the era of segregation and during the desegregation battles in the courts. There is too many for me to document today, but you can easily read them with a simple Google search. That the roots of the civil rights movement and much of the help, both legal, support, grassroots efforts, and the like, financial even, were helping the civil rights movement, helping African American community leaders, were actually Jewish and Israeli leaders as well. So the Black Lives Matter needs to take a little look about their own history before they start demonizing the very origin of people that were trying to help them with their said cause. Human rights and issues of oppression in America for African Americans. Thank you, Alan Dershowitz, for bringing this to everybody's attention. Your article in late August was excellent. And thank you, Governor Christie, for your signing into legislation the 27th state now to ban the use of state funds, pension funds, and the like with companies engaged in boycott, divest, sanction, that is, anti-Semitic actions against Israel. So on those good notes, let's continue the search for truth and the fight for knowledge and combat the lies and bigotry wherever we can. Happy Labor Day. Shavua Tov. Have a great week. Shabbat Shalom.